Yes, well, dispose of it quickly, and be sure that this stays just between the two of us. No one can find out about this. If this got out, well, let's just say you don't want to know what would happen if this got out. I mean, if anyone even knew I was speaking to you right now, this could be the end of us both. Do you understand? All right, yes, excellent. So I'll meet you. Oh, someone's coming. Yes, officer, right away. I'll let everyone know. Thank you so much for calling. You too. Goodbye now. That was the inspector. He said to keep everyone calm and in one room. So go on and fetch the lads, lest there be any more murders this evening. Oh, can I help you with something? Let me stop you right there. I'm not sure what your business is with Mr. Green, but I am not him. We look alike, you say? Well, I get that a lot, and while I'd love to agree with you, you have to admit, I'm much more handsome. Yes, we'll go on and gather everyone in the lounge. I'll be right behind you. Hello and welcome back and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, you may remember that these kind of character-driven skit intros that I started doing on my channel actually started with Mr. Green during the first Get a Clue readathon back in 2023. And so now we are back in 2025 for Get a Clue 2.0 and we are representing Team Colonel Mustard this time. So today we are going to be talking about my February pile of possibilities as well as recommendations for Team Colonel Mustard. So I'm going to start with the Team Colonel Mustard recommendations and get those out of the way. More specifically, these are books with yellow covers, so some of these I haven't actually read. I use the term recommendation loosely, but I'll let you guys know the genre and whether or not I've read it or whether or not I plan to read it, or if it just simply made it onto this list because it had a yellow cover. And for the ones that I have read, I'll try to give you like a quick summary of what it's about. So jumping right into the ones that I have read, these are in no particular order. But first up, we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is an enemies to lovers romance about two writers who unexpectedly end up spending the summer living next door to each other and decide to swap genres, and they each try to write a book in their new genre. Number two, we have Bright Young Woman by Jessica Knoll. This is a historical fiction loosely inspired by survivors of a very well-known real-life serial killer. Number three is The Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. This is a contemporary literary fiction story about an author who steals an unfinished manuscript of a famous author who died very suddenly, and she decides to publish it as her own. Number four, we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a cute YA rom-com, and the main female character is obsessed with rom-coms, so there's a lot of references to classic rom-coms. This falls somewhere between childhood friends to lovers and enemies to lovers. Number five, we have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a nonfiction, it's a memoir, and it's a pretty incredible story about her life growing up Mormon, becoming the breadwinner for her family at such a young age, and dealing with a mother with pretty severe mental illness. Number six, we have Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, another historical fiction that is set in the same universe as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, and Daisy Jones and the Six. If you read Malibu Rising, you may remember Carrie Soto. She was a very famous tennis player, and this story takes place several years after Malibu Rising, and now a newer, younger tennis player is coming for her record, and Carrie, at her big age, decides to basically come out of retirement to defend her title. Next is X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is a rom-com that follows a bookstagrammer who needs a place to live, so she moves into her best friend's husband's old apartment because they just got married and moved out, and so now his old roommate needs a new roommate. In addition to adjusting to having a new roommate, she has also decided that she wants to get back out there and date, but she doesn't want to waste her time and energy getting to know new people, so instead she decides to go back through her exes and see if she can make it work with one of them. And now her new roommate is acting as her wingman and helps her. Number eight is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is a romance that involves magic and time travel, I guess. I didn't really care for this book, I'll be honest, but I did like the commentary on suicide and grief. I know that a lot of people really love this book. I am just not one of those people, but it's a yellow book, so it made it onto this list. Now, the other yellow books that I have on my list to recommend are books that I have not read personally, but they have been on my TBR for a while. Since I don't actually know that well what they're about, I'll just tell you what the genre is and who the author is. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which is a romance. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, also a romance. The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, romance. Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, romance. The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. I think this is a historical fantasy mystery. Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez, romance. Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. Pretty sure this is also a romance. Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I think this is a YA murder mystery thriller. And the last book on this list is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. This is a contemporary fiction that might also be romance, but I'm not completely sure about that, so I won't sign off on that part. Next, on to my pile of possibilities for the month of February. I'm gonna do my best with the summary of these because I haven't actually read them, so bear with me. The way the Get a Clue is set up, you don't actually know the prompts ahead of time, so I have a bunch of books that I want to read, but I have no idea if they'll actually fit any of the prompts. I have a possible strategy workaround for that, but you'll have to join Team Mustard for those details. Anyway, jumping right in, first up we have Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This is a dark romance, I believe, about these two enemies, Dean and Cora, who get abducted and end up in some guy's basement, and they have to work together to try to escape. Now, this is the only book on this list that I am fairly certain, like fairly confident that I will definitely be reading this month because I am buddy reading this with Donna. I will also be buddy reading The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Perry. This follows a guy who has a magical ability to bring fictional characters to life, and his brother who is tasked with protecting him from using his powers, but apparently there's someone else in town that has the same ability, and so the brothers work together to try to stop them. Now, I'm not sure if this will be in February or not. I'm not sure if I'll get to this in February because like I said, I'm buddy reading this with Leandra, Danny, and Rainey, but we all have different wait times for our library holds, so we're still trying to coordinate that. Next is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. This is a literary fiction story. I believe it follows the lives of two women. One is a mother who's a white woman and the other is a babysitter who's a black woman. And the babysitter is confronted one day by a security guard in the grocery store because I guess he was suspicious of her being a black woman walking around with these white children. I don't really know anything else about this story besides that. But it follows these two women's lives. Next is Black Enough. This is an anthology, and it says it's a collection of captivating stories about what it's like to be young and black in America. On to the next, which is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca or LaRocca. This is also an anthology. This is a collection of short horror stories. I read another anthology by this author last year and I wasn't a fan, honestly, but I'm giving this one a shot. One, because I already own it, and two, because it's one of the host favorites, so we'll see how this goes the second time around. Next up is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. Really? I don't know what this is about, to be honest. I know that it's a fantasy about witches, which is pretty much the only reason why I bought it. I think it's like witches that used to be a part of the government and then something happened. Now years later, they have to like work together to save a young warlock who's in trouble or something like that. This is also a host favorite. Moving right along, we have The Village Library Demon Hunting Society by C.M. Wagner. This is a fantasy meets cozy murder mystery about a librarian who starts investigating a string of murders in her town. I was actually planning to read this already because Danny and Leandra, I think, are reading this for their podcast, but this also so happens to be a host favorite, so that definitely works in my favor. Next is another host favorite and a book that I've been wanting to read for a while. It is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is another one that I don't really know much about. I think it's a fantasy mystery and the cover's really pretty, so there's that. The last book on this list is Take My Hand by Dolan Perkins Valdez. I don't remember what this is about. I believe it's a historical fiction and it has something to do with the controversy around birth control. That's all I really remember, but this is also a host favorite. Whew, all right, that was a lot, but those are all of my yellow cover recommendations for Team Colonel Mustard and my TBR / pile of possibilities for the month of February. You'll notice that there is a mix of Black authors for Black History Month, romance author for Valentine's season, and also murder mysteries for Get a Clue Readathon. I'm anticipating that a lot of these books probably won't get read depending on what the timing is and what the prompts are, but I'm hoping that I'll have plenty of options to choose from. If you made it this far into the video, drop the hot dog with mustard emoji down below in the comments. Also, let me know if you read any of these and what are some of your books that you have on your TBR for the month of February. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you are not already subscribed, and hit that bell so that you are notified the next time I post a video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.